Okay, hi, my name's Benson. I work as a counsellor at the Donna Louise Children's Hospice, which is a local hospice to the Stoke-on-Trent area. My job there is a counsellor. I work alongside families who've got a child with an end-of-life condition, and then also with the families once the child's died. I want to talk about what it's like to be a teacher in a school, and some of the tools that you can use to come alongside children who may have lost a significant family member or even a pet. All the research and the evidence proves that actually the stumbling blocks for children and young people is us adults. We don't do death very well at all. So therefore, when it comes to dealing with children who are grieving, we ourselves struggle. So I think the first thing is for us to look at ourselves really, first and foremost, about how we deal with grief ourselves. If, however, you do come across a child that you know has lost someone, I would certainly be giving them that space for them to just be able to explore what's going on for them. And children love being creative. And so to get paints out, to get crayons out, to be able to read a significant story to them that would enhance or enable them to be able to talk about what's going on for them. I use art. I love painting, and I love coming alongside children, and while they are painting, I'll be asking them open questions about what's really going on for them, and allow them that space again just to explore. In a school environment, you can also do that by allowing children, whether it be in a group setting, for them to write a story and about the person that's died, and then and openly for them to be able to talk about what's going on for them at that time. One of the tools I use to help a child to talk about what's going on for them is to use a memory jar, and this just consists of a jar full of salt, and you just need some chalk, and you divide the jar into 5 sections. So you kind of divide on an A4 piece of paper, put 5 layers of salt on the paper, and then talk to the child about the person that's died. And for example, you could say, what was their favourite colour? And they just chalk in reds, for example, their favourite colour. And then with the chalk, the salt changes to this beautiful colour of red. And you pour that in the jar. Another question could be asked, what was their favourite food? And until the jar's actually filled up. The jar is really important to actually fill, but actually it's what the child's saying in between this that I would be looking at. For example, when she talks about her favourite food, that could open up to something else about what about it do you actually miss then? Do you miss sitting together for meal times? And that could open about what family's like at home for them and how it's changed, and that maybe mum and dad don't sit down anymore to eat. Maybe it's difficult at times. Maybe there are things going on at home with which you can tease out of just that kind of what kind of food does the child eat. And so the memory jar for me is a wonderful tool for allowing the child to talk about how they feel. A memory box is something with which you can have stored away somewhere, and it's a wonderful tool to have. This is a pink one, obviously, for a girl, and I'd encourage the child to decorate this however they actually want. Inside, though, is really important, and I guess with the memory box, it's very much about the child being given permission whenever they feel a little bit sad. So inside the memory box, I'd be encouraging to put things that make them smile, things like photographs, but the photographs being of a happy time, something with which they can smell. So as soon as they open the box, smell is really important for memories, and it'd be great for them to have something in there with which they can pick up and touch. I encourage them not to open it all the time, but to just do it whenever they feel sad. One of the ways as a school is for you to prepare yourself for a child that's lost a significant relative to them, and that is to get memory boxes ready, to get books. There's an amazing organisation that I use called the Child Bereavement Charity, and they'll come out and or invite you to do training with them. I would certainly recommend anybody who works in the care profession to do level 1 counselling, so that you know actually how to empathise, how to listen. For me, I think that was probably the best thing I ever actually learned about myself as well. I go back to how I started, about looking at yourself really, how you deal with grief. and any problems there in relation to kind of shying away from that, really. So the Child Bereavement Charity is one organisation I would certainly recommend. You can get this from the Child Bereavement Charity, and again, I miss my sister. The story itself is really important, but it's actually observing the child while you're reading this. At moments when the child may feel a bit more sadder or may feel uncomfortable, it's that kind of body language I'd be looking for to see at what point of the story does she feel or does he feel a bit uncomfortable. But also not just to tell the story without going into a bit more detail, to have almost a beginning and an actual end and get some form of closure. I hope this has been useful and helpful. There are many places that you can visit. The Child Bereavement Charity I'd highly recommend. There is counselling services. There's Younger Minds and the Mind organisation, which actually in my local area are actually going into schools now, and they might be available to you.